Hi guys, thank you very much for joining and welcome back. I personally don't know what to say as an intro, so I think I'm just going to leave it. I honestly don't know how to suggest that this that I'm going to be talking about today has come about. Can you remember the Essex Boys news series I was going to do? It kind of phased out, it stopped, didn't it? Well, because I've had a bit of time off from these videos, making these videos, I thought to get back into the swing of things, carry on doing that. And as I've done so, I've got to this. Okay, so we're at the 9th of December 1995. I'm not going to read this all out, but you know the concept of this series is I was going to start reading every news article there was. It was a time filler. It gave you, the audience, some viewing pleasure. Good time filler for in between the other videos. For whatever reason, I haven't been doing it. I've got no excuses. I don't know why. I think it's the Addams Family video, and there will always be this interest here. But when we start touching on dodgy ground and dangerous ground, you know, there's Kenny Noyes just come out of prison. I think collaborated all that together. I haven't lost interest, it's just that I don't feel right stepping into this turf anymore. But this, I haven't been able to get out of my head. I mean, again, I've got to keep reminding myself that I'm only talking about this thing. I'm talking and sharing my views, that's it. This has been on my mind for a while, and I've been hesitant to actually put it out there because it blows up. I mean, if I'm getting this right, this whole thing blows this story wide open. We can't really get much wider, could we? I mean, Mick and Jack are in prison on the basis that Darren Nichols said that he overheard them talking after he'd taken them to the lane. He overheard them talking about their guns. All this time, through watching Rise of the Foot Soldier, Essex Boys, all the other stories, the documentaries, I've had the impression that because Mick and Jack are in prison, I've had the impression, as it's portrayed in all these films, and the story as it goes, I've had the impression, as have you, I'm more than sure, that there were two guns, right? But this article here, if, of course, this isn't a newspaper just exaggerating, which personally I don't think it is, this is saying that there was only one gun. I'm not going to read it out as I say, but look, we're at the 9th here, 9th of the 12th, 95. The gun deaths, no Leah link. That's the title. It's by Richard Woodard, and it's for the East Anglian Daily Time. There's nothing in these paragraphs that we haven't heard before, that's why I'm not going to read them out. But if you remember in the last episode of this series, we got to the bit where Donna Jaggers had made a press conference. She called out for any information from anybody who may have seen Tony Pound Greg that night. Whoever was with them, please get in touch. And then as that developed, we learnt that the police then had Mick Steele as prime suspect, if you remember. So it was considered that Donna Jaggers, as early on as the 8th of December, as she made these press conferences asking for witnesses, it's considered that it was then that she told the police what Craig had told her. Craig had told her that they were going to meet Mick Steele, and Mick Steele was going to show them where an aeroplane was going to land. It's only in February or March, I can't remember which, February I think it is, February 14th, maybe March 14th, something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Donna Jaggers' statement. She makes two in the same month, a week after the other, which she makes one and then she makes another one a week later. She makes both of them about Mick. She makes one about Mick Steele, the second a week later about Mick Bowman. But their statements. It's considered that because the police had Mick Steele as prime suspect as early on as the 8th, as we learned in the previous episode, that Donna Jaggers had spoken to them and told them already everything we knew from the statement. So it's considered that the statement wasn't the first time the police knew about Mick Steele. It's thought that they knew as early on as the 8th, or around the time that Donna Jaggers made that press conference. She's bound to have spoken to the police. She's the only one out of all the wives and girlfriends to have made the effort to try and find out any information from anybody regarding the deaths. She loved Craig and Craig loved her, and she's the only one who made that heartfelt appeal to try and find anybody. So with that in mind, she's the only one who wants the information. So the police are there obviously going to say, what can you remember? Has Craig told you anything? What did Craig say he was doing that night? Tell us everything. She would have, wouldn't she? She would have just spilt the beans. So that's why Mick Steele was prime suspect so early on, and that's where we got to last time. But I was just reading through this, and look here. Detective Dibley said police could be well looking for more than one killer, but last night a weapons expert confirmed that the spent shotgun cartridges found at the scene had all come from the same gun. There could be a power struggle, or there could be a double cross which has taken place. Right, we all know that newspapers, the media, all lie for publicity so they can sell their newspaper. It gets people interested. They over dramatise the front page so people are attracted to the front page, so they buy the newspaper. They exaggerate the details of the stories. But one thing I have learnt about the newspapers is that they're pretty good at always telling the truth about what somebody said. If there's a police officer in an interview and he makes a speech, the newspapers are always pretty good at writing word for word what they've said, and they print exactly what they've said. Just like this, for example, Detective Dibley said that exact word. He said that exact sentence there. There could be a power struggle, or there could be a double cross which has taken place. That's what he said. He says that in an interview, and in fact he says that at the end of Rise of the Foot Soldier. That is the real Ivan Dibley in Rise of the Foot Soldier on the TV as Carlton Leach smashes the TV up after hearing the news. That's the real news coverage. And he says those exact words. It could be a power struggle, or there could be a double cross which has taken place. Now I personally don't think they're going to lie about this one sentence here. There's no speech marks, so it doesn't say that he actually... I mean, it says that Detective Dibley said this, but whether it's exaggerated I don't know. But I mean, he says, look, Detective Dibley said that the police could well be looking for more than one killer, but last night a weapons expert confirmed that the spent cartridges found at the scene had come from the same gun. All these years, for me personally, after watching Rise of the Foot Soldier, at the end of Rise of the Foot Soldier, Jack and Mick both have a gun. There's two guns there. They shoot Tony Pound Craig in the back of the Range Rover, and in that Range Rover with two guns. Jack first goes round, bang, 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 shoots them. Then Mick comes with his gun and shoots Pat. And then Jack goes round them all again. There's always been two guns. Two gunmen, two guns. But this is saying that there was only one gun. All those cartridges that were found around the Range Rover at the scene in front of that gate, all those spent cartridges came from the same gun. Again, I must stress, if this isn't the newspaper exaggerating and making that bit up, that last night a weapons expert confirmed that the spent cartridges found at the scene had all come from the same gun. If that isn't the newspaper making that up and exaggerating, then the police thought on the 9th. So they thought on the 8th. They found the Range Rover on the 7th. They started doing all this work at the scene. They found all of these cartridges around this Range Rover. They know that it's a death by shotgun by this time, and this is on the 7th. This newspaper article was printed on the 9th. So let's say, because it's on the 9th, let's say the story of this has broken on the 8th. Yeah. So the Range Rover was found on the 7th, all day, they've been working at the scene. On the 8th, this weapons expert has taken the cartridges, he's found them, he's taken them away, and on the 8th, he's discovered that they were all from the same gun. And so he's released that story to the press, and the press have printed it on the 9th. That's the only way it can go, right? Surely. Along those lines anyway. He's a weapons expert, and he's confirmed that all cartridges came from the same gun. One gun. Now, with that in mind, do you understand how that blows this whole thing wide open? Again, one man, one gun. The theories now just flooding. One man, one gun. Pat was in the middle. He was sat in the middle. So this man wasn't sat with Pat. They went up to meet this bloke. There's two sets of footprints. One apparently is a boot print. One is a trainer print. Right? If you're in a field and you're wearing wellies, wouldn't it be wise, if you're expecting to walk home maybe, to bring a different set of shoes? So there's another theory that they went up to meet somebody who was wearing wellies, and then he changed his shoes, obviously after killing them. Two sets of footprints, one gun. Two people and then one gun. That's another theory. One person in the back with them and nobody else there. Why would anybody be there if they've only got one gun? That's another theory. Another theory is that they went up there with somebody who didn't have a gun, who wasn't intending any harm whatsoever against Tony Pound Craig. They get there, this bloke for some reason has to get out. Maybe it is to open the gate. There is somebody else in the bush, and he's jumped out and shot them all. And the bloke who's gone up with them has legged it. He's heard the shots and thought, fucking hell, what the fuck? And he's legged it. Hence two sets of footprints. One gun. I can't believe that. A police expert has said that all the cartridges were shot and fired from the same gun. Another theory is that they were identical guns, and it's confused this expert. I'm more than sure that theories are going to start going mad in your own heads, like it has mine. I mean, this has just blown things wide open, hasn't it? I mean, this is saying here, look, that Ivan Dibley said that we could be looking for two killers. Fast forward all this 20 years later, this story's been out that there were two killers. But now, it's looking as if we're only looking for one killer. And thinking that because that's what the police have said. The police said that there could be more than one killer. But last night, a weapons expert confirmed that spent cartridges found at the scene had all come from the same gun. Doesn't that say that there was only one shooter then? I'm lost for words, guys. I'm lost. I'm a little bit lost. I don't know what to think about this. It's like the police thought that there was only one killer, but they think two people were there. I'm really confused. I'm really confused about that. How, after all these years, how hasn't that one thing been a highlight in this whole story? You know, after all this time of looking into this case and of just reading and, you know, reading little bits of pieces of it seems like the police knew they were on the right tracks at one point, but they've been diverted by different people's word. It's like they've met Donna Jaggers, and then automatically after meeting Donna Jaggers, they've trusted her. They've trusted her. They've trusted this girl who's telling all this stuff, and so they're going with it. Ivan Dibley is like, right, let's get in there. Let's see what happened. Look, we found three people. They've all had their heads blown off. Take the cartridges, test them. That's come back that it was all fired from the same gun. Right, that means that there should be one person there. One killer. Two sets of footprints. Then they've met Donna Jaggers, who's told them about Mick Steele, and they're like, right, Donna, nice one. Let's go after Mick Steele. This has got to be true. You're telling the truth, Donna. You've got to be. This is what Craig told you. You're telling us now. And this is the way we're going to run this thing now. We're going to go after Mick. It's like they've trusted her instantly. and forgot about everything else that they're looking at here. There's got to be more to that, surely. There's got to be more to that. The police are surely not allowed to suspect that only one gun was used and then go to court on somebody's word who's saying that there was definitely 2 guns. And surely they're not allowed to prosecute somebody on the basis of having 2 guns. And surely they're not allowed to send them to prison for life for both shooting them with 2 guns when they themselves thought there was only 1 gun. How is that possible? For them to put Mick and Jack in prison, to even go after Mick and Jack, they've trusted the word of somebody else. That has to be Donna. And then Nichols pops his head up, says, okay, I heard Mick and Jack talking. I took Jack to that lane. We met Mick at this place. I picked Mick and Jack up from this lane. The day after, I heard them laughing and joking about guns. It was only then, or on the way home, that I realised what had happened to Tony Pancraig. He's talking about 2 guns. How can that story go down in court when the police thought there was only 1 gun? I'm just getting so tired of how thick and how it seems like it's all deliberate to me. Honestly, the whole situation with Mick and Jack being in prison is a setup. It's deliberate. And it's not fair, you know. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I mean, that's just it's thrown my mood off, this whole thing, a little bit. It's gone a little bit funny now because, I mean, where do you go from that? Do the police still think there was only 1 gun? 1 gun. 1 gun, 2 killers. If one person pulls the trigger and 2 people are there, does that mean, is that what they mean by 2 killers? I'm getting so confused. I'll leave that there. I'll throw that in there. I'll see what you think. Leave your comments down below. Thanks for your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.